College basketball rolls along from the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship. Our second semifinal features the 11th ranked Tennessee Volunteers taking on the undefeated 3-0 Virginia Cavaliers. I don't know how we're going to follow up our first contest. Double overtime, Jeremy Roach, the one-time Duke Blue Devil, now forever a Baylor Bear, 99-98, hitting that buzzer-beating shot to break the hearts of Johnny's faithfuls all over. With Kyle Macy, Chris Sylvester, Sam Hyman will join us shortly. What does this one have in store for an encore? These are a couple of defensive-minded programs. I don't think we'll reach the high 90s like we did in our first game.
No, combined maybe, but no, these teams really focusing on the defensive end. If they don't have something quick, they're going to grind it in the half court, use a lot of game clock, and that's why the scores are so low. Now, Ron Sanchez has opened up the offense a little bit more than Tony Bennett for Virginia, so we'll see how that works out.
Well, when you think defense and you think Tennessee's backcourt, Zakai Ziegler, the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year, has added a lot to his offensive game, too.
Yeah, he's averaging over 15 points a game so far this year, but he's only 5'9". You think, oh, he can't be that disruptive. But that's exactly how Rick Barnes describes it. He does a little bit of everything. Great defensive player. In fact, Defensive Player of the Year last year in the SEC. Now, for Virginia, Jacob Coffey is only a freshman. Only played 3 games so far, but he has a huge impact. As you can see, he can score outside, inside. He's leading the team in rebounding, steals, as well as assists, second in scoring.
Tennessee and Virginia, a matchup of unbeatens. We'll bring it to you next from Baha Mar Hoops. Starting lineups, the Who's and the Vols, pair of unbeaten teams matching up here in Nassau. Isaac McNeely leads this Virginia squad, the junior in his 3rd season with the program. A bunch of newcomers elsewhere for Virginia. Zakai Ziegler, Chaz Lanier, graduate transfer from North Florida, Meshack Milicic, and Akpara round out Rick Barnes' starting lineup in his 10th season as the Vols head coach. 810 career victories for the longtime Texas head coach. He was the National Coach of the Year back in 2019. Ron Sanchez, this has been the big early season story in college basketball. 18 days before we got tipped off with this new campaign. Tony Bennett called it a career. Sanchez back in the head coach chair where he led Charlotte for 5 seasons.
Right, but not much change in the program. The fact that Ron Sanchez was underneath Tony Bennett as an assistant for multiple years. So keeping that system going, maybe just freed up the offense a little bit more. But, you know, each coach has their own quirks.
So after that incredible finish, Jeremy Roach daggering St. John's at the buzzer in double overtime to lead the Bears to tomorrow's championship. They await the winner of this one. Day-Day Ames on an elbow jump shot. And he misses off the hill. Milicic skies for the rebound. Virginia one and done on its first possession tonight.
Now, Tennessee will try to push the tempo. If they can't score in the first 6 seconds or so, then they're going to run the clock, run some offense, try to get a real good shot.
Tennessee off to this 4-0 start. They've been dominant in all 4 of their victories as Lanier misses the mid-range jump shot.
I missed that shot, but I'm sure Rick Barnes is happy with that look because he's been trying to encourage him to be more aggressive. He's sometimes a little bit too passive. He's an excellent shooter, and it really opens up the inside if he's aggressive and makes some of those outside shots.
Tennessee has more wins than any other program in the SEC since 2017. Saunders misfires. An Elite 8 squad last year, met by the Purdue Boilermakers, the national runner-up last season. And it's a big shoes to fill with Dalton Knecht, one of the best players in the nation last year going to the NBA. And they feel like they did that in the transfer portal. Lanier, a big scorer for him, but he missed the left-hand jam. Saunders, a transfer from San Diego State, part of a Sweet 16 and a runner-up finish in 2 seasons with Brian Dutcher and the Aztecs out west. Day-Day Ames making his return here to Baha Mar, was here with K-State, the runner-up in this tournament last year. Buchanan lobs it. Saunders underneath and rejected from behind by Felix Akpara. He is an elite shot blocker for Tennessee.
Yeah, Akpara is really long and has excellent timing. Here's a last drive by Lanier. Just didn't quite get over the rim, but it was a good take. And then Akpara from behind slapped it straight down to the ground. Virginia, the difference really between these 2 teams, and they'll use clock on the offensive end if it's not something quick, but Virginia is looking to go inside more when they have time to run their offense. Whereas Tennessee, as you see, a little bit more perimeter oriented. The big men will come out, set picks and pop, or Akbar will roll to the basket. So even though they're both kind of patient in their offense, different ways to attack.
Rick Barnes called this a new team in a lot of ways, trying to hang their hat on defense per usual under the 10th-year head coach, as Ziegler couldn't quite skip it into Felix Akbar. But he measures the team's defensive success by deflections per game.
Right. Yeah, he can tell at halftime if they've only got 10, 15 deflections that they're not active enough defensively. And both these squads really base their success, or their program really, around their defense. They feel like if they're playing solid defense, they'll get the offense on track at some point.
Open corner tray, power misses. Virginia connected on 14 threes. This is their second straight game on a neutral floor. Beat Villanova by 10 points in Baltimore last week. Ziegler misses the flip. Here comes Day-Day Ames. This is kind of what we expected. Points at a premium. Yep. And Virginia throws it away.
And especially if the officials are going to let them play pretty physical like we saw in that first game, points will be even at a higher premium.
Still in search of our first point, almost 3 minutes in. There's Mashack, the senior. He was on that Elite Eight squad last year. Knifes inside and lights the lamp.
That was a good drive by Mashack. I was impressed with him in shoot around this morning and even yesterday at practice, talking to his teammates all the time, almost like an assistant coach, kind of leading the way, talking about what we need to do on defense out there. And when you can get a coach, or excuse me, a player to act like a coach and talk to his team, as Saunders makes a long three, then the team, it shows that they're buying in a little more. Sometimes players don't like to hear it always from a coach, so if a fellow teammate can talk to him, it sometimes means a little more and sinks in a little faster.
Saunders started 21 games last season on a San Diego State squad that advanced on to the Sweet 16, where they met UConn for a second straight year. That's an offensive foul on Chaz Lanier. A little push-off.
A little hook there as he made that drive and got a little high on McNeely's face. You see, makes the move, the middle reverse, and that right arm just kind of hooked him up around the neck.
Chaz Lanier was one of the more efficient players in college basketball last season at North Florida. Rick Barnes saying he's still learning the defensive system, but has produced close to 14 points per game on the offensive end. They'll take him out early in favor of Jordan Gainey, senior from Tucson. His father, Rick Barnes, associate head coach.
It's a real good combo. They kind of complement each other. Similar games, both excellent shooters. Gainey, 4 years in the program, knows exactly what Rick Barnes expects. And if he doesn't, ask Dad.
Well, we told you, Rick Barnes measures his defensive success by deflections per game. They've already got a few here in the first 4 minutes of the contest.
Yeah, they're a solid defensive team. In today's game, if you can contain the basketball one-on-one, you've got a chance to be a good defensive team.
Well, Virginia having all sorts of trouble with Tennessee's pressure. 3-2, who's on top early?
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Continental Tire, the smart choice in tires, and by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
A lot of loitering around for Virginia and Tennessee as they awaited that double overtime finish between Baylor and St. John's. Sam Hyman with more on what the teams did to pass the time.
Guys, we were supposed to tip off around 9:30, and when I spoke to both SIDs, Virginia, first and foremost, chose to rest. Really just sit back, relax, and wait it out. Now for Tennessee, they were bouncing around, jumping up and down in the hallway. There's an area that you can practice in a practice facility in another ballroom, but both teams chose to not go there, and now we're underway.
Sam, what did you do while you were waiting for that game to finish? I mean, you had to go back and forth between each bench. We didn't know who was going to win until Jeremy Roach ripped the courts.
I was doing some jumping jacks, Chris. Jumping jacks.
I did a lot of those in the hotel room to get some late night energy here at Baha Mar. Shot clock into single digits. You'll see this a lot from Virginia. Saunders, long two, and he missed it short.
It's a good look, though. He had a mismatch with Ziegler on him, so he had the size advantage. Got an open look.
Cade Phillips seeing some early run for Tennessee. Ziegler misses from the corner. Milicic floats it back.
I was impressed with Milicic some of the early games. He showed the outside game. Good touch there on the inside game. He can handle it a little bit. Kind of a typical European basketball player that's come to the States to play.
We spent the last 2 years at Charlotte, and one of those under Ron Sanchez. Charlotte was really good in Ron Sanchez's final season, won 22 games. They were part of a different prong of this Baha Mar Hoops event. McNeely got hit on the way up, misfires from distance, and Ziegler, a little too much sweat on the palms.
Kofi comes in the lineup now for the first time tonight. 15:09 to play. You see, he's the tallest player on this Virginia squad and does multiple things. He'll play basically starter minutes, just doesn't start the game.
Promising young freshman from Seattle. Gatorade State Player of the Year in Washington. Ames on the blow-by and got fouled from behind by Phillips. So Day-Day Ames, he was one of K-State's most highest rated recruits out of high school in Chicago. Played under Jerome Tang, played here in the Baha Mar Bahamas Championship last year, and well, he wanted to play so badly in it again that he transferred to a school that was already signed up to be here.
Yeah, he had limited time last year. He got thrown out of the one game, if I remember correctly.
I thought you had a great breakdown of that Day-Day Ames-Garway duel scrap-up that wound up going viral. Remember, that was an overtime game between K-State and Providence. You always know you're going to get some type of free basketball here when BD Global puts this thing together. Day-Day Ames, couple of makes to put Virginia back in front. Tennessee has opened 2 of its first 5 from the field. They were dominant last time against a good Austin Peay team. Beat them 103-68 at home. Meshack downhill. Missed it, but the putback flush. Darlin Stone Dubar making his volunteer debut. Was away from the team the first 4 games with a personal matter, and the Hofstra transfer puts an exclamation point on his first Vols bucket. McNeely misses. Virginia one and done.
It's a nice addition to add. He had a few matters he took care of, and now back playing the lineup. Oh, yeah, travel. I was going to say he didn't call a foul there, did he? Because he took that extra step. Gainey coming off that high pick.
Well, they've been waiting for this guy. Senior from Charlotte averaged almost 18 points per game. Second team all Coastal Athletic Conference at Hofstra last year. And quite a scoring punch for Rick Barnes to add to this squad.
And not to mention the size and the strength he brings to that front line.
Well, Virginia 1 of 8 from the field on this end. Saunders will fire a 3. He's got the lone make from the field for Virginia. Well, fans from these 2 squads had to wait a long time to take their seats.
And it's tough to do. I mean, I kind of relate it to tennis, where a 5-set match, the players are supposed to be on court next. You know, they're in the locker room. And like you said, what do? You continue to exercise, wear yourself down, or do you eat a little bit? Or if all of a sudden the game's over, then you got to go right back out there. So it's difficult. It might take them a little while to kind of get in the flow of this game.
In addition to that, we don't expect a ton of points between 2 really good defensive teams. Kofi knocks down the elbow jump shot. The promising freshman, second on the team in scoring. He's been their top rebounder through the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, top rebound, top block shots, top steal maker.
Akpara gets it back, but misses the hook.
The thing I like, he never gets hurried. He just kind of plays at his own pace. You saw that time. He took his time, got set up, and had good bounce to take that shot.
Andrew Rohde has been an effective 3-point shooter in the early season off the bench for Ron Sanchez. He'll take this one into the paint, leans in. Very close to a goaltend, but a clean block. Already the second for the Ohio State transfer, Felix Akpara.
Yeah, that was close. Let's take a look at it and see. Rohde with a good step through. The ball might have been on the way down. That's a tough call, though. Like I said, the block charge and the goaltending. probably the 2 toughest calls in today's game. Not a lot of traveling called or carrying.
Parr has recorded at least 1 block in every game this year. That's his 3rd, but a late whistle for a foul. Rick Barnes right up into the face of the official who called it. And Isaac McNeely will get 3 free throws on the other side of this.
And you know what Rick Barnes is saying. You know, I was head, I'm not even sure if he still is, but at one time he was head of the rules committee for coaches. And so he was very involved in a lot of long meetings talking about different rules. So I would say he knows what he's talking about as far as the interpretation of that rule. The offensive player is not allowed to what they used to call the World Be Free, the Lloyd Free rule, where he kicks his feet into the defender and initiates that contact.
Well, McNeely put up monster numbers in Baltimore against Villanova. Team high 23 points. 3rd time in his career that he's knocked down 6 trays in a game. And he is the veteran presence among this starting 5. 3rd-year player for Virginia. In this day and age of college basketball, that's pretty rare.
It is. He's a great shooter. I mean, if you look at his percentage, it's 65% from the field and 64% from behind the 3-point line.
Chaz Lanier back in the game for Tennessee. Meshack resets. Okpara out of the high post. Plays it back to Meshack. Free throw line jump shot. Off the back rim and taken by Kofi. Moving screen. Blake Buchanan whistled for the offensive foul. That'll take us to a first-half timeout here in Nassau, the Bahamas. Winner takes on 13th-ranked Baylor tomorrow night. Defense is shining. Hoos and Vols late night. Welcome back to the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship semifinal night. The Virginia Cavaliers 2-point lead over number 11 Tennessee. This is a program that is ranked top 6 in Division I in scoring defense every season since the 2011-2012 campaign. And on the other side for Tennessee, they've been right up there with the nation's best defenses the last decade under Rick Barnes, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they figure that, because if you take the time, the possession on the offensive end, someone needs to come into that formula. But I mean, that's an impressive stats by both those teams. And it just shows that they kind of what they base their program around is their defense. And the theory being that, you know, you can have off night shooting, but if your defense is consistently solid, at some point in the game, you'll get a shot or 2 to fall and make a run and be right back in the game.
When they say defense travels, about a 900-mile trip for both of these programs down to gorgeous Cable Beach here at the Baha Mar Resort. Dubar misfires. Lanier on the offensive glass has the putback.
Lanier, that good size at 6'5", very active on the offensive board.
Garland Stone Dubar, who is at Iowa State out of high school, then Hofstra, where he was an all-conference talent, brings more than 1,300 career points to this Tennessee bench unit. There's another Tennessee deflection, and it leads to a takeaway for the Vols.
Give Ziegler credit for that deflection. Kind of kicked it right back Lanier.
Off the heel. Okpara on the offensive glass. A reload here for Tennessee. Kofi picks him up. Corkscrewing. And missing the turnaround jump shot.
Kofi 6'10" out there on the floor, able to stay with Lanier. Good job defensively.
Ziegler all over Andrew Rohde, the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Has been on the SEC All-Defensive Team 3 times in his career. McNeely, and it's off of McNeely. Virginia gives it back. 5th Cavaliers turnover, and they're just 2 of 11 from the floor.
It'll be interesting at the end of the season to see time of possession average for a Tony Bennett team when he was coaching at Virginia, and time of possession at the end of this season with Ron Sanchez's teams. Seems like they're trying to score a little bit earlier in the shot clock.
What's the plan in the offseason to generate a more fast-paced offense? But when we talked to Ron Sanchez yesterday, who spent a couple decades with the Bennett family, He said the only difference between Tony Bennett and I, he has 365 wins and I don't. Of course, that remarkable national championship. Igor Milicic rings it up from distance to put the Vols in front.
It's one of those combined for 368, right?
You and I have combined for
easy
national championships, a good NBA career, a lot of free throws and threes, if you let me stake a claim on some of those. Rhodey with a crossover. Kofi with a hand in his face. A little too strong. Okpara pulls down the miss.
Good closeout by Milicic that time to get a hand in the face.
Deflected. Okpara recovers, plays it back to Ziegler. Lanier from long range puts it in.
Yeah, that's his game, and is set up by Ziegler's penetration. Made the defense take one step off. That ball line defense a little slow getting back to the shooter.
11th tray of the young season for the fifth-year senior back in his home state. He's from Nashville. Coaching staff told us he added 2.5 inches to his vertical jump in his lone season at Tennessee. That's an offensive foul on Andrew Rhodey. They ran over Jordan Gainey. This is a nice stretch put together by Tennessee, 8 straight points.
Yeah, got some threes to go down. Milicic with a high archer right in the net. Followed by the next possession, Lanier off the kick from Ziegler. Another 3 drops.
Tennessee just 5 of 14 from the outside in that 103-point outburst against an Austin Peay squad that knocked off Butler in the season's opening week. The most impressive showing so far was a 22-point win at Louisville. Louisville much improved under their first-year regime. Another possession where Tennessee works late into the clock. Lanier seeking space. Ziegler picked up by Ames into the paint, and Buchanan swats it away as time expires on the 30. Virginia hasn't scored in about 3.5 minutes here. Just 2 of 12 from the floor. Ames picked up by Gainey. Leans in, and it rolls off. But a couple free throws for Day-Day Ames. Well, Ron Sanchez tells us that Day-Day Ames, he's got a boogie to his game. And he boogies his way to the free throw line for a couple at 8 points in that big win over Villanova. And well, Villanova's down for a Virginia team with so many question marks. Remember, Tony Bennett stepped aside just 18 days before the start of the season. That was a huge confidence boosting win for this program.
Right, because of the tradition of the Villanova team. But, you know, you hate to see Coach Bennett step aside. I understand his reasons why, but it's just not good for the game when you lose a coach of his caliber, his quality, his character. Same thing in football. And Saban stepped aside from Alabama. Does a good job on the broadcast, but you know, those are the kind of guys you want in your sport leading the way.
Maybe we'll get Tony a headset before too long. As long as he doesn't take
trying
any
to give
of your
my job.
games.
Okay.
No. I threw in the disclaimer on the back end. People need more Kyle Macy. Errant pass, Buchanan with the leather larceny for Virginia. Tennessee's 5th first half giveaway. McNeely stripped. Mashack to steal. Lanier, quick trigger. Too strong. Milicic on the offensive glass. And whistled for traveling. Didn't really know where to go there. And consecutive giveaways for Tennessee.
Probably
Slugfest.
should have gone up is where he should have gone.
14-10, 11th ranked Tennessee on top early. All right, a lot of defense as expected. 11th ranked Tennessee 14-10 over Virginia. About 8 minutes left to play on the first half clock with Kyle Macy, Chris Sylvester, our entire crew. And well, Tony Bennett just 5 years ago leading Virginia to that national championship run, a year after they lost in the 16-1 game against UMBC. Retired 18 days before the ball went up in this new campaign. 364 wins, the most in program history. 8 ECC titles. 4 times he was the conference coach of the year. Had this team in the big dance as recently as last season. They won 23 games. They were ousted by Colorado State in the round of 68. And you said it before we stepped aside to that last time out. It just doesn't feel right to have him out of the game at such a young age.
Well, and just is such a good person. You know, you hate to lose people like that in your game, your sport. And we talked about in that first game about families with the total amount of wins. And I know you said the Drews were way up there, number 2. I think Hank Iva and his family were up there. And I got to believe the Bennett's with Tony's father as well, having such success.
Well, Tony says a little bit later on, as the news settles in and Sanchez takes a hold of this program, that he'll be involved and wants to be involved with Virginia basketball. But he cited the unregulated NIL money and transfers his reason for retirement.
And like I said, I understand that because as a former coach, you know, you're constantly recruiting for players for the following year, but now you also have to recruit your own players. And I think it's got to come to a point where, okay, you can transfer once and not have to sit out, or if your coach leaves, you can transfer and you're not punished for that. But at the same time, you know, just to bounce, we saw in the first game, one player played at 4 different schools in 4 years. As Lanier hits another 3-pointer. Speaking of 3-pointers, I want to shout out to Louis Dampier. Yesterday was his 80th birthday. 3-pointer, one of the greatest 3-point shooters ever.
80 years young.
Yep.
Well,
and can still shoot, I'm sure.
Oh, this is a 3-point maestro. Power misses the reverse, but Buchanan on the offensive glass. Virginia's first made field goal in more than 6 minutes. Their defense keeps them in games. Lanier leading the way early for Tennessee. Ziegler misses off the heel.
Whoa, wide open under the basket. They didn't see him.
Ames had it partially blocked by Ziegler. Plenty of those in his long, successful college career.
And that's one thing, you know, Buchanan was wide open under the basket. They didn't see him. The reason they didn't see him is because Tennessee puts such hard pressure on the basketball that instead of seeing the floor, the man with the basketball is worried about where that defender is, if he's going to steal it, if he's going to get double teamed. And sometimes it takes his vision away of not being able to see the rest of the floor because Buchanan was wide open, no one within 10 feet of him.
Virginia 3 of 15 from the field, just 1 for 6 from 3-point territory. Lanier misses the step back. Buchanan boards it. Ron Sanchez calls Blake Buchanan, the second-year forward from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, the anchor of this Virginia defense. Saunders backs in Milicic. Up fake. Now is rejected. Akpara's third swat.
Good read by Akpara because Sanders had the advantage. He's exceptionally strong in that low post. Good pass.
They'll feed the big fella on this end, and Buchanan returns the favor.
Yeah, you can't pivot to your right side and then come back with the right hand, though. If you're going that way, you've got to go left hand.
Brody sets up Buchanan for 2.
Scoring bonanza. 4 points in a row by Virginia. Cuts the lead down to 3.
Tennessee 7 of 22 on this end. Meshack off the feed from Milicic. Ziegler gets it back from Milicic. Shot clock into single figures. Akpara underneath. Left it short.
Well, Tennessee should have scored that possession, but Milicic was kind of careless with that pass to Meshack because he was wide open. Threw him a bad pass. He couldn't catch it and get his balance.
Power fires a 3.
Well, that looked good, right on line.
Virginia 14 makes last time in Baltimore against Nova. Milicic passed up. Meshack lets it go and connects. Now Jeremiah Meshack. That's his 4th triple on the season.
That was good perimeter ball movement to get that open look for Meshack.
Tonight is 104th game in a Tennessee uniform. Been with his Volunteers program all 4 of his collegiate seasons.
And interestingly enough, talking to Rick Barnes yesterday at shoot-around, he said he may be the best defensive player on the team even though Ziegler, like you said, has been voted 3 times the all-defensive team in the SEC and last year's Defensive Player of the Year. But his versatility, he can guard perimeter, he can also be physical, go down and guard one of the front line players.
Yeah, stepped in for Zakai Ziegler when Tennessee was a Sweet 16 squad 2 seasons ago. They'd ultimately fall to a Florida Atlantic program that had a tremendous Cinderella run. Of course, Elite 8 last year, ran into Purdue, losing Dalton Knecht, still trying to find that go-to scorer that Knecht was last season. But Rick Barnes had talked about not relying on one guy like they did often with Knecht last year.
Yeah, it was interesting to listen to him talk about Knecht, the mindset, how he may have missed 3 or 4 shots, and he told him, "Don't. If you shoot next time you shoot a 3, this is in practice, that you're going to run a 17, which is a minute side to side."
McNeely didn't put enough on it.
Knecht came down the next 3 times and made 3 in a row. He looked at him. He says, "Well, that's okay. I need to get in better shape anyways." Just that shooter's mentality. Whereas Lanier, he's trying to tell him, "You've got to look to be more aggressive to shoot."
There's Gainey for 3. Saunders grabs the miss for Virginia. Tennessee already 11 attempts from 3-point territory, 4 knockdowns. Ishan Sharma, freshman from north of the border, is checked in for Virginia. Kofi puts his head down, and Meshack tie up. Possession arrow points the way of the Volunteers. That'll bring some energy late night here in the Bahamas. Jemiah Meshack getting it done on both ends for 11th ranked Tennessee.
Did not. Came to shoot around.
We've got another couple days here in Paradise.
I'd rather be in the gym, you know that, than at the beach. Come on, man.
You're a hoop junkie. Tennessee 2014 over Virginia. Battle of undefeated programs. Virginia beating Villanova in Baltimore, Maryland late last week. Ron Sanchez said he'd like to kind of reintroduce this Virginia program to the college basketball world. A lot of people overlooking the Hoos after Tony Bennett's preseason announcement. Feels like this is a squad capable of getting back to the big dance.
They're a talented team, and you know the only thing that's changed has been the coach. So, like I mentioned earlier, that they're not ranked this time of the season, which is a little. I mean, for a team that's always ranked, it seems like, just because you change coach. I know it was a little different situation that late, right before the season started, but a coach that's been in his system, he calls himself kind of a family member of the Bennett family, so he knows exactly what they've done in the past, and players are familiar with him as well.
Foul away from the basketball. Sharma and Gainey get tangled up. Just the 4th foul on Virginia this half. Ishan Sharma played 10 minutes off the bench in that Villanova victory. Ron Sanchez feels like he's a young player on the verge of a breakout game, and he's hoping that breakout game comes one of these 2 nights in the Bahamas. Milicic out to Ziegler for 3. Off the back rim. Long rebound chased down by Tennessee. Gainey flashes the leather, takes it inside, and a foul on the floor. So Sharma, a couple of quick fouls, heads to the bench. Lob inside, Dubar, patient for 2.
And that's why Rick Barnes is real excited to get him back playing, get him on the floor. Good athletic ability, not only to touch the ball, but to control it enough, bring it down, and go right back up and finish.
4 points, 3 boards, and 6 opening half minutes for Darlin Stone Dubar in his Tennessee debut. A big transfer portal addition for the Volunteers in the offseason. Brody going baseline, off the glass and in.
Little hesitation, looked back like he was going to spin, but held his ground. Good move by Andrew Rohde, 6'6" sophomore out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Rohde started 27 games for Virginia last season. Milicic powers it up, missed it off the heel. Good interior defense from Virginia.
Milicic kind of shied away from the contact that time. You got to go strong, make the official call the foul if you can't get the shot to go down by attacking the basket, not fading away.
Rohde, a good three-point shooter, tees it up, and he missed it wide to the right. Saunders on the offensive glass, put too much on the putback attempt. High lob in low for Milicic. Tennessee sharing the sugar. It's Mashack, fouled on the way up.
It's a good read by Ziegler that time when the pick and roll. Different philosophy though. Sometimes coaches on the pick and roll want you to throw the lob, but he saw the gap there down low, and McNeely, good help from the corner, but commits the foul reaching in. Virginia likes that, what they call the ball line defense. So whatever level the ball is, all 5 defensive players should be at that level, if not lower. So it really takes away those drives and open one-on-one to the rim baskets.
Jazz Lanier with a team high 8 points, returns for Tennessee. Mashack's father played at LMU, had a very successful college career, was a first-team All-West Coast Conference performer. And Dubar whistled for the over-the-back foul.
That's one other thing, advantage you have by bringing a player like Dubar in, that he's got 5 fouls. So there's 5 more fouls. Be physical defensively.
Full court pressure shown by Tennessee in the final 86 seconds of this opening half. McNeely crossing blades with Mashack, who's whistled for the reach-in foul. It's the 6th on Tennessee.
We talked about his defense paralysis here, moving those feet. The only mistake he makes is right there, kind of reaches in with that inside arm, initiates contact. The official standing right in front sees the whole play.
Call physical games like this Tylenol games. A lot of bumping and bruising.
What do you call that game? The first game we had about talking about bumping and bruising.
Day-Day Ames hits the mid-range jump shot.
Both those teams may be taking cold baths tonight. The ice baths, what do they call them?
Well, Virginia, despite the cold shooting, within 4 here, final minute of the opening half. Lanier steps back.
Tough shot.
Milicic tried to soar in for the second chance, and last touched by Virginia.
Virginia crowd not real happy with that call. Thought it went off the Tennessee players' hands. So Lanier, that fadeaway. Milicic had the inside position, but it looked like Saunders may be over the top touched it last. Not sure. That's why I'm not refereeing.
Don't quit your day job. 20 on the shot clock. The officials confirming the time here.
Ooh.
Ziegler looking for a teammate, just gets it in.
Yeah, I thought he had that lob initially, the basket on Milicic's cut to the basket.
Ziegler goes behind the back with the dribble. Off balance shot, rolls off to Buchanan. Only a few seconds separate the shot clock and the game clock. Virginia has a chance to get closer before halftime. In the first half, that's seen the Cavaliers shoot at a 26% clip. McNeely resets. 5 on the timer. Around the Buchanan screen. Rhodey catch and shoot. It's money.
Wow, long range shot.
A heave from Ziegler misses everything. And Virginia scores the final 7 points of the opening 20. Night full of buzzer beaters in the Bahamas.
Well, Virginia knows how to play late in the shot clock, and you can see it up above there right at 1 as he lets it go and hits the bottom.
All right, Sam Hyman with Rick Barnes.
Coach, what did you take away from that first half with your team?
Too many turnovers, not very good at all on offense. Defensively, we did okay, but it's just our offense. I think we're driving when we should be shooting, shooting when we should be driving, just not very good on offense.
What are you going to tell your team in the locker room?
Get better shots, take care of the ball, value every possession.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, good stuff, Sam. 22-21. Defense, defense, more defense. You have to love it. 1 point game. 11th ranked Tennessee over 3-0 Virginia. We've reached the half in the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship. We welcome you back to the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship semifinal night. Winner takes on Baylor in the championship tomorrow night here on CBS Sports Network, 9:30 Eastern. A lot of highlights, most of them on the defensive end. Blake Buchanan, Ron Sanchez calls him the anchor for Virginia defensively. He lived up to that the first 20 minutes.
And here we see on the offensive end, going to foul back and then being in the right position on the drive by Rhodey to catch that pass and put it in. And for Tennessee, they'd like Jaslyn there to be more aggressive offensively. In a couple of possessions, he did just that, knocking down some long threes. And Tennessee leads by 1 at halftime.
All right, the Cavaliers, the Volunteers, that field goal percentage. Well, I mean, as a former shooter, does that make you cringe? 29-30?
Well, you know, you've got to, like Coach Barnes said going into halftime, you've got to take care of the ball, and you've got to be unselfish with the ball to get a good shot, because the defense is so good. If you start taking bad shots, you're going to shoot a low percentage, and you don't want to give up offensive boards, because then you're giving up putbacks, which are easy points. So you want to make your opponents work for every shot if you're focused on the defense, and get every rebound after the first shot. Go to the other end, try to get a quick set. Now, Tennessee would like to get more offense early in the shot clock, but Virginia's doing a good job of getting their defense back and set, and they're much harder to score on when their defense is set than in transition.
You know, give the people what they want. 99-98 game earlier. 22-21 at the half. Give them the defense. Now, Virginia ended that opening 20 minutes with 7 straight points, so a little momentum for the Cavaliers into the break. Chance to jump back in front as Saunders fades, fires, and misses. San Diego State transfers now 1 for 8 from the field in this game. And a foul away from the basketball on Virginia. Let's check in with our good friend, Sam Hyman.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Coach Sanchez of Virginia asked him about the adjustments on offense. He said it's nothing more than just matching their physicality. We got to set better screens, catch the ball square. He did say he really liked, Coach Sanchez loved the transition defense against a Tennessee team that likes to hit you early in the shot clock.
Good stuff, Sam. And like you said, Kyle, they want to get some shots up a little earlier. They do work into the single figures of the shot clock here as Okpara misses. Put a whole lot on that right-hand hook, and Tennessee touched it last.
Yeah, Okpara a little bit too strong, if you will. Almost broke the glass on that hook shot off the glass. But you know, it's tough to shoot sometimes, people hanging on to you. The Tennessee defense extended out. They recover so well, give help, but a good strong move by Buchanan, just couldn't get it to go.
Around the world and out for Blake Buchanan, more than halfway down.
Nice little drop pass there by Rhodey. Buchanan with the spin. You know, the other thing too, if you're playing physical defense, I mean, your arms are getting banged around and you get fatigued, and sometimes those easy looks are really hard because you're so tired and you're not used to raising your arms that high after you've been holding and pushing and shoving and doing all those things.
It's got me ready to box you out.
At least that's what I was told. I wasn't really known for my defense.
Took a while for these two teams to score in the opening half. Milicic out to Ziegler for three. Another second effort here for Tennessee. It's been a quiet start for Zakai Ziegler. Library quiet. He's 0 for 6 from the field. Has not scored, but gets tripped up and fouled here. Second on Virginia pretty quickly here out of halftime.
Well, Ziegler's not the defensive player of the year because of his offense. I mean, he can score. He's averaging 15 this year. But it's his leadership, his defense ability, his disruptiveness, again, is what Coach Barnes calls it. He's always on the ball, applying pressure, and you've got to be aware of where he is on the court at all times. He anticipates very well, gets a lot of steals, a lot of deflections.
Ishan Sharma first off the bench for Virginia this half, takes the place of Day-Day Ames. Ziegler, alley-oop, and a foul. Tried to throw it into Felix Akpara, and some contact underneath.
Akpara doing a good job of getting 2 feet under him to go up strong, but just couldn't quite handle it. Akpara at the line on the year, 7 of 10 for the season, so not bad for a guy 6'11", 235 pounds as he clangs one.
Now that's on you. Spent the last 2 years at Ohio State. Was top 10 in the country in blocked shots. Started 34 games for the Buckeyes in the Big Ten a season ago. Clank, clank, and another opportunity for Tennessee. This is what Rick Barnes did in the transfer portal. North Florida, Chaz Lanier, one of the more efficient players in college basketball. 247 Sports rated Tennessee's transfer portal class as the 14th best in the country. Lanier gets by Saunders, high off the glass, it trickles off. Tennessee owning the glass in this second half. Corner pop, in and out, and finally headed the other way. Boy, I mean, a gritty sequence shown by Virginia.
Well, they were fortunate in that possession because Tennessee was really crashing the offensive glass. They've got to start making contact out on the floor and not let the Volunteers get those running starts to the offensive rebound.
You know what? Let's give these guys a little breather. Tennessee +6 on the offensive glass early. Out-rebounded Austin Peay by 18 in their last game over the weekend. This is the first of 4 games, or rather second of 4 games for Tennessee against the ACC. They beat Louisville in the Yum Center in a dominant performance earlier this year. They'll take on Syracuse in the ACC SEC Challenge in early December, and they'll also take on Miami in New York. Another blocked shot, this one from Meshack. Ahead to Lanier. Virginia able to get set defensively.
Yeah, when you kick the ball out and then hold it, that's what gives the defense time to get set. Got to keep it moving so the defense has to stay moving.
Well, Lanier going to just keep shooting. First in the double figures on either side. He's got 11.
That's what shooters do. You may miss 4 in a row, but in your mind, you're going to make the next 6.
Hasn't been all that efficient tonight. Chaz Lanier 4 of 14. But in a game where points have been at a premium, it's been a welcomed addition for Rick Barnes. Bad bounce pass. Another Cavaliers giveaway. Their 10th turnover.
That was a bad angle on that pass, but here's you see coming off that down screen, got his feet set, a little short, but again, giving up an offensive rebound. It's going to come back and bite you most of the time. Cavaliers work too hard to get a stop on the defensive end to give up another possession.
Lanier lets it fly and hits again. That brings him 2 points shy of 1,000 for his college career.
Again, Rick Barnes has to be very happy with that because encouraging him every day in practice to be aggressive, look for your shot.
Can Virginia generate any type of offense this half?
Again, a bad angle on that pass from straight out top. You got to get to the wing. Gives you a better look.
Kofi trying to chase it down, headed our direction, saves it in.
Good hustle by both those players.
Knocked out by Tennessee. If Rick Barnes is measuring his defensive success by pass deflections, I mean, he's not smiling ear to ear right now, but he should be.
Well, he's a basketball coach. Not many of them smile while the game's going on. But no, I mean, he's very focused. But yeah, I think the number I heard some coach say was like 40 or more. They've got a good chance of winning the game.
Kind of feels like they've got 40 this half.
Yeah.
They've held Virginia scoreless, and they've scored all 6 points. A couple of long three-pointers from Chaz Lanier, the only scoring we've had the first 4 minutes of this second half.
And what that does for Tennessee by Lanier making perimeter shots, it's going to open up the inside for their big men. They'll have a little more space.
McNeely, that's a much-needed make for Virginia from the outside.
Mashack almost got that from behind, though. Good concentration by McNeely, not letting that bother him.
That's 6 trays last time against Nova. Every time you think Tennessee's going to start to pull away in this game, Virginia's defense keeps them in it. Chaz Lanier notches 1,000 career points with a friendly bounce.
He's starting to feel it. You can see looking to the rim every time he touches the ball.
A shooter's touch from a terrific one. He's got all 8 points for Tennessee out of the gate in this second half. There's Power, the Duke transfer. Kofi with 5 to shoot. Angles inside. Couldn't reverse it home, but it'll stay on this end when we return. 2 to shoot for Virginia on the other side. Chaz Lanier, all 8 points for Tennessee out of the break, and 1,000 for his college career. Finally, some offense here late night in Nassau. All right, before Chaz Lanier joined the 1,000 point club, he took quite the slide here at Baha Mar Hoops. Baha Mar, just elite all the way around. The water park, the ocean, the resort. Sam Hyman, you went on that journey with Chaz Lanier.
I did go on that journey. How many points were we giving Chaz Lanier for going down that water slide? I know he just hit 1,000, but my goodness, he said that his heart absolutely dropped. He said it was a free-falling sensation. Your back lifts off the slide at the very beginning, but he absolutely had a blast, and he said it all laughing. He's a big outdoors guy. He loves camping, biking, and now he loves going down water slides. So pretty cool stuff, and now at 1,000 career points. But seriously, Harold, how many points are we giving him for the slide?
Well, he's got more points than his teammates tonight. 16 for Lanier, 14 for everybody else in Volunteer Orange. 2 to shoot here for Virginia out of the timeout. McNeely from the water park, and that hits the ceiling. Oh my goodness, I've never seen that in this building.
Well, it's just good defensive pressure. Made him throw a little extra arch to get it over him.
I mean, a literal roof scraper. Lanier.
Sure.
On target again. This guy is scorching out of the half.
And if you've got a guy that gets a hot hand like that, you've got to go to him every time down the floor until he misses. Give him a chance to go on that run.
Shades of Dalton Connect and the way he shot it last year.
Just the other day, he was, what, 9 threes in the NBA. He set a rookie record, I think.
Offensive foul. Andrew Rhodey pushed off. So Virginia, they've been outscored 11-3 by Chaz Lanier out of the break. How did they recover? They haven't looked too smooth on the offensive end out of halftime.
Well, they're not a team that's going to go on a 12-0 run in 2 minutes. I mean, they've just got to keep grinding, try to execute better, and when they get those open looks, try to finish. But also on the defensive end, they've got to do a better job of protecting the rim and then getting the rebound. Don't allow second shots like that right there.
Milicic on the offensive glass. Okpara, the stick back jam. Now, Tennessee is into a rhythm now. A 13-3 start to this second half for the 11th ranked Volunteers.
I think it's probably safe to say that Rick Barnes had a few choice words for him at halftime to kind of inspire them, because they've come out a little bit better intensity, better execution this second half.
It's a reach-in foul on Lanier. All right, Felix Okpara, been a frustrating night for him on the offensive end, but taking some of that frustration out on the iron.
Well, continuing to do what he does best, and that's go to the glass and rebound and get those putback baskets. He's not one that's going to just amaze you with his offensive moves, but he does play hard. He's physical. He can rebound, and on the offensive end, finish plays like that.
Virginia's been held to 3 points the first 6 minutes of this second half. McNeely owns the three. A reload here for the Cavs. Ames slipped, ripped away by Gainey.
Too much dribbling by Ames, trying to do a little bit too much.
Fourth steal for Tennessee tonight. Kofi
hands,
dives
Kofi.
on the floor. Gainey clamoring for a timeout instead of jump ball, and Tennessee will keep it with 17 to shoot.
Virginia with a good double team that time, coming off the high pick, and then everybody's got to rotate down low to take away that roll man. Active hands got the deflection.
Winner of this game gets number 13 Baylor tomorrow after a thrilling double overtime game here earlier tonight. "19 minutes shy of Friday morning here in Nassau."
We've got to tell a little story on Rick Barnes. We had the conference call with him, and someone had asked him if he'd ever been to the Bahamas before. He said no, but his wife reminded him that's where they went on their honeymoon. Coaches get focused, they get locked in, and don't remember a lot of other stuff other than
You're
basketball.
kind of hanging out Barnesy to dry with that one.
He's a good guy. He can take it.
810 wins in the great career of Rick Barnes. Gainey, big steps downhill, and Milicic is there to follow it up.
Another offensive glass. Put back.
That's been the story of this second half. Not only the dominance in the point column from Tennessee, but the way they've been able to generate second, third opportunities on each trip. It's now a 15-3 burst out of the break for the Volunteers.
Yeah, Virginia only 3 points this second half.
See if Kofi can get him going.
Nice move.
Across the lane, he sets up Buchanan for two.
Yeah, Kofi's a good-looking freshman.
As the Washington State Player of the Year his senior season at Eastside Catholic High School in the Pacific Northwest.
It's a tough matchup. Lanier 6'5" and a lot quicker than Kofi. Just couldn't stay with him.
21 for Lanier. Tough bucket for Day-Day Ames. And a quick timeout taken by Virginia. They want to hold on to any type of momentum they get here early in the second half. And it is an 11-point game. 11th ranked Tennessee on top. All right, time for the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship play of the game. And, well, it was actually, well, the game was at a stoppage, halftime. Give this young gal a scholarship. What's up with all these miracle shots in Nassau tonight?
These two teams could use that kind of shooting to get more points on the board, but you want a three-night stay.
I was just about to say, as cool as Jeremy Roach's buzzer beater was, I think that was equally as cool. And the prize, yes, it was a top 25 resume win for Baylor earlier, but 3 nights at this place, my goodness. I mean, we gotta work ourselves to the bitter end to get free nights at this place.
Well, the people here at BD Global do a real good job during the timeouts. Contests like that. There was a putting contest trying to make it in a board at the end of the gym floor, and he actually made his go through. He may have gotten a little help with a kick from one of the assistants, but you know, the crowd stays involved, not just during the game, but also timeouts. Just a great atmosphere. They do a wonderful job of putting on these events around the country, around the world.
Well, Tennessee, 17-7, they've outscored Virginia to lift the lid off this second half. Still 12-18 left. The Cavaliers at 31% from the field against this stout Volunteer defense tonight. Two programs that hang their hat on the defensive end. Ziegler still scoreless for the Volunteers. Milicic out of the shot fake, turns around, misses the short jump shot, but it'll stay on this end. A foul on Saunders.
You know, and you mentioned Ziegler hasn't scored, but that really does not affect him. His game is more being the leader out there, setting the offense and setting things up.
Another stoppage here. Late night in Nassau. All right, college basketball continues tomorrow. It's the Greenbrier tip-off. Pitt takes on LSU at 2:30 Eastern, followed by 19th ranked Wisconsin and Central Florida at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right here on CBS Sports Network. 4 unbeaten teams. Talk about quad 1 games here. Could be some quad 1 games and one of your favorite vacation destinations, White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Jack Benjamin, Matt McCall will bring you all the action from the inaugural Greenbrier tip-off.
You know, a lot of good basketball early in the season. I'm not sure if they maybe should hold the ranking system until January. Oh, we missed it.
Well, that's Kate Phillips. Couldn't cash in on the inbound alley-oop. Sophomore from Jacksonville, Alabama.
It's a good out-of-bounds play baseline to get that wide open attempt, but just didn't get it to go in the basket.
See if Virginia can take advantage of the high percentage miss. Power sliding to the floor, and the officials will blow this sequence dead to mop up that wet spot. Kate Phillips, I mean, he's got plenty of bounce in his game. 7'2" wingspan. Comes from a Crimson Tide background. His dad played football at Alabama. His mom played basketball for the Tide. Grandpa played under the late, great Bear Bryant there in Tuscaloosa. Phillips bucking the family trend by going to Rocky Top.
And right there at home in Jacksonville, Alabama, could have gone to Jacksonville State. You see some players slipping now and then. It's not like there's condensation coming up through the floor because there's no ice under the floor like you see in some arenas.
They don't play hockey here in the Bahamas?
But there's a lot of humidity in the air.
Day Ames connects on a 3 in the last moment of the shot clock. Well, Ames, the first Cavalier into double figures with 11 points. Meshack kicks it. Corner tray, too strong. Gainey misses, and Phillips went over the back.
Kate Phillips, that's his second. Team foul number 2.
Little second half momentum for Virginia. They've connected on their last 3 from the field.
Tane Murray checks in, 6'5" senior, 208 pounds, averaging a little over 2 points a game. I think in a back-to-back night, especially with the intensity and the defense that all these 4 teams play, you've got to make some substitutions if you want to have any chance that second day.
I mean, you have to feel like that if this game doesn't go to overtime, that the winner will have the advantage over Baylor tomorrow after the Bears played 50 minutes, and it came down to the literal last moment.
Last second.
McNeely walled off in the corner, skips it into Buchanan. Extra pass. Murray fires a 3 and fills it up. Tane Murray didn't see the floor in the opening 20, but he drills his first attempt, and Virginia's back within 5.
His first 3-pointer of the season. That's tough to do, to come off the bench after sitting there for over 30 minutes.
Ziegler out to Milicic. He has the answer.
3-point basket, Tennessee.
Igor Milicic, the senior from Croatia. The ex-Virginia Cavalier spent his freshman season in Charlottesville as Day Ames draws the foul. All right, Tane Murray providing some offense from the outside.
Virginia starting to warm up, but Buchanan just kicking it opposite. Murray at the right place. A good backspin on that shot. This time Milicic answers on the other end to negate that 3 by Virginia.
Talk about a guy that Ron Sanchez knows really well. He played for Ron Sanchez 2 seasons ago at Charlotte and played for Tony Bennett his freshman season at a prep school. I always wonder if guys play with a little extra juice when there's some familiarity on the other side.
Guess it depends on the situation.
Did you ever play Purdue while you were at Kentucky?
We did, yeah. But it was a different staff.
I mean, okay, but come on. You used to wear those colors. You were a Boiler before you were a Wildcat.
I was.
Milicic out of the shot fake, sneaks in for the deuce.
I had to sit out a year when I transferred, though. That's long gone.
Igor Milicic has a dozen, joining Chaz Lanier in double figures for Tennessee. Vols have matched their offensive output from the opening 20. The first 10.5 minutes of this second half as Kofi throws it away.
Yeah, Kofi made a mistake of leaving his feet, not knowing for sure what he was going to do with that pass. I think he thought his teammate was going to pop back out. Instead, he went back door to the basket, so it kind of left him hanging. He just had to let the ball go out of bounds.
Tennessee's led by as many as 13 in this second half. Milicic downhill, tried to drop the hammer and got fouled. That would have woken up some of this crowd. Igor Milicic, right before the clock strikes midnight, cocked it back, couldn't finish it. 2 free throws though.
Yeah, just one step into the lane. But to Virginia's credit, you don't give up the layup or the dunk. If you're going to foul him, make sure you get your money's worth. Have to earn it from the free throw line. Although he's a good shooter, makes that first one.
He's the first player in program history from Croatia. It's also the first player in Tennessee basketball history to wear number 7. Didn't have that on your bingo card, did you?
I actually wore number 7 once. I played over in Italy, which is not, in fact, we played at Split, Croatia, where he's from. Beautiful country.
A night that's been full of Virginia miscues. Their 15th turnover as they couldn't execute the inbound pass. How much of that is Virginia struggling on the offensive end? How much is that Tennessee forcing these takeaways?
Again, I think it's a combination of both. Tennessee does a good job. We've talked about being active with their hands, and then when you're constantly against that pressure, it will wear you down. You get a little careless at time. And again, it's early in the season. This is only Virginia's 4th game. And so they're still kind of getting to know each other.
Ames got a step. Jump stop. It's Murray missing everything. Kofi grabs the loose ball inside. Sent back by Lanier. McNeely skips it. Kofi tries from the corner. Gainey Skies to grab the miss.
That's a good look, just didn't get it. But not just the players getting to know each other, it's also the coaches. You know, what can this player do? And in a tough situation, how does he handle it? Oh, Village, he missed the easy one.
Well, only in this game. None of the buckets have come easy.
You can normally tell an offense how well it's working by the movement of the players. That possession, you saw really just one player, whoever had the ball, was moving. Everybody else kind of standing and watching. You don't want to stand. That's the easiest player to guard.
Quick trigger from Lanier, saved in Detain Murray, the senior. Murray in his 4th season with Virginia. This is his 68th game in a Who's uniform. Rhodey on target from long range. Second triple for Andrew Rhodey tonight.
Sanchez is high on Rhodey. He just thinks he hasn't kind of got it going yet. But he's a Midwestern kid and knows how to play.
3 triples last time against Nova. He's got a pair from 3-point territory tonight. Virginia trying to make a late push. The Continental Tire Baja Mar Championship continues tomorrow night in the 3rd place game. Whoever falls short in this one takes on an angry 22nd ranked St. John's squad. They've squandered multiple opportunities to put away Baylor earlier. Scott Drew and those Bears, they're still celebrating out in Waco. They will take on the winner of the Cavaliers and Volunteers tomorrow night. 9:30 Eastern. We'll bring you both games on CBS Sports Network. We thought maybe Tennessee would pull away and hide with this game, led by as many as 13 in the second half, but Virginia connecting on some shots from the outside and making things interesting with 7.5 minutes to play.
Well, obviously, they've got a lot of pride in what they do as a basketball team, Virginia. And it's interesting how to 1 point, 1 play can kind of change the rhythm of the game. And Milic is missing that open layup. Would have put Tennessee up by 14, I believe, if that's correct. Instead, now he misses. They go the other way. They score a couple points, and it's now a 8-point game. So you've got to stay focused every possession.
See those second chance points, Tennessee plus 10 in that category. That's pretty much the difference in the game. Field goal percentages are identical. See how the Volunteers respond out of the Rick Barnes timeout. Lanier. He's been the cash cow this second half for Tennessee. Meshack with 5 to shoot. Lanier, long range 3, short. Gainey chases down the 16th offensive rebound, and they didn't reset the clock. Lanier, a game high 21 field goal attempts, 21 points on a night where he surpassed 1,000 career points. The North Florida transfer, all ASUN member last season. Lanier works to the elbow, sinks this one.
Got a good looking shot. I see why Rick Barnes wants him to be more aggressive, trying to shoot the basketball.
Well, the hope was not to rely on one guy on the offensive end, but look at those field goal attempts. Those are Dalton Connect-like numbers as Ames is reached in on and fouled, the 4th on Tennessee this half.
Surprising thing is when I was going through the notes that, having played at North Florida, the coach there, I think, was an assistant under Scott Drew at Baylor years ago. I think he's been at North Florida about 16 or so years.
North Florida was receiving AP top 25 votes after the first week of the year. They beat South Carolina and Georgia Tech, but they have cooled off considerably since. Ames twirling around, off-balance shot. Murray grabs the loose ball. Couldn't massage it in.
Wow.
Gainey finds a seam. Count it! And give him one on the house. First points for Jordan Gainey off the bench.
And what I see now on the court between these two teams is maybe the difference in the conferences and the fact that the SEC is a very physical conference and the ACC is maybe a little bit more basketball players as opposed to strength and power and those type of things. And so on a drive like that, Gainey's used to that contact. He was able to absorb it and finish. Whereas some of the shots by Virginia, it looks like the contacts kind of throw them off. They haven't been able to make the play.
More trouble with that full court pressure, and Gainey draws another foul right back to the free throw line. So Tennessee, they've matched their largest lead, and in a game where offense hasn't come easy, 13 almost feels very, very difficult to overcome in 6-18.
Yeah, because they just don't score that quickly. I mean, that's not their game style. It's kind of like a team that that runs a lot, and all of a sudden they get behind. Now they got to start passing. It's just not what they do.
Gainey hits the front end of the 1-and-1. CBS Sports recognizes Native American Heritage Month. Time to embrace tribal identity and celebrate the history, customs, and legacy of the nation's original citizens. 15-point lead for Tennessee.
Yeah, Gainey's an excellent free throw shooter, close to 90%.
5-point flurry for the senior Jordan Gainey off the bench. At 15 last time out at home against Austin Peay. Six minutes left to play. Long night of hoops in Nassau. And it's the early morning now. A few minutes past midnight. Ames baseline off the front rim.
And you can see the difference in the possession. Both teams using the clock, but Tennessee, even though it didn't get the ball to go down, there was player movement, there was ball movement. That last possession by Virginia was basically one-on-one. Ames just taking it by himself. Mashack with good hands.
Into the backcourt. Euro step. Flutters it in for 2. 9 straight for Tennessee. And the deficit at this juncture with 5 and change left may be insurmountable for this slow-paced Virginia offense.
Well, add on top of that the defensive talent that Tennessee plays with. I mean, they're very active.
We'll step aside. 5 minutes left to play. Late night in Nassau. All right, 9 straight the last couple minutes for the Tennessee Volunteers, and there's a good chance they've pulled away for good tonight. On the cusp of meeting Baylor in what would be a top 15 matchup in the championship tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern here on CBS Sports Network. Chaz Lanier has done it with his offense. Tennessee, as a unit, they've done it with their defense tonight.
Very much so, and that's their game. I mean, if you watch them play night in, night out, the #1 priority for Rick Barnes' teams is playing solid defense, not giving up second shots, and then execute on the offensive end.
Rhodey kicks. Murray sidestep 3, and he left it short.
And even that possession where Ziegler came flying by on the shooter, it just made the shooter take an extra dribble, step aside, and took him off his rhythm. Just by giving that effort to try to close out. Lanier trying to post up one-on-one here.
Zakai Ziegler 0 for 8 from the field. No points tonight. But he's impacted this game with his defense as Lanier lets it fly. That's his 6th made 3 of the night.
Yeah, if you look at this lineup for Tennessee, they've gone kind of 3 guards, and even Mashack plays in the perimeter some. So Opara in the middle, just kind of holding the fort down, letting those 3 guys on the perimeter do their thing. They're all real good defensive players as well.
It was a 1-point game coming out of the half. Tennessee has dominated the back half of this game to the tune of 36-17 as Rhodey misses the straightaway attempt. Part of a 16-3 run that the Vols have gone on to all but put this game away the last 6 minutes.
And you know, we talked earlier in the game about how Tennessee was more perimeter oriented. The big guys just kind of set picks and the guards play off that, whereas Virginia has the 3 big men. They want to go the old style 2 out, 3 in. But you can see it's taken them out of their offense. They're now going to a smaller lineup as well as Ziegler makes a nice drive and finally gets the ball to go in the basket.
Well, he's a capable scorer, more than 1,100 points in his Tennessee career, and it's the hoop plus the harm for Zakai Ziegler. A dominant second half for 11th ranked Tennessee. Coming up next, get in-depth highlights and analysis of the latest hoops action. We go coast to coast on Inside College Basketball right here on CBS Sports Network. It has been quite the night in Nassau. Night turned morning. And that double overtime thriller, Jeremy Roach, the one-time Duke Blue Devil, cementing his Baylor legacy in the first few weeks of the season with a buzzer-beating 3 to break the hearts of previously undefeated St. John's. Virginia's going to get an angry Rick Pitino-led squad tomorrow. Meanwhile, Tennessee might get a pretty fatigued Baylor squad.
Yeah, both teams just played with such high intensity the entire game, both overtimes as well. And that last shot, it wasn't like it was an open look. He just made it. I mean, it was contested, and the time the buzzer went off as the ball was actually in the air, so they couldn't put any time back on the clock.
As much as that shot will be remembered and shown on the highlight reels and the top plays, think about the last 10 seconds of that game. St. John's up 5. Edgecombe hit the off-balance 3 before the
really
2 missed free throws
well.
and the eventual game winner. So there were a couple sequences there, a couple miracle threes, if you will, for Baylor in the final 10 seconds.
And the takeaway is, if you're a young player, game's never over. Just keep playing.
Rhodey on a long offensive rebound and a foul on Tennessee.
And you can be down big like they were in the first half, or you can be down 4 or 5 with very little time on the clock, but just keep battling. Strange things happen.
A double team power on the inbound pass, and Ames stepped on the end line. A frustrating second half for Virginia. They've been held to 17 points. They've allowed 38. Find themselves down 22 with 3 minutes left. Look at that. Chaz Lanier, by his lonesome, has outscored Virginia. 18 for the senior Lanier, 17 for the Cavaliers. The first 17 minutes of this half.
Tennessee very patient now on the offensive possession, trying to use the clock. They've got enough points to win this game. They don't really need to score.
Ziegler lobs. Akpara hammers it through.
But they will take points if they get easy shots like that. But it's more about just letting that clock run.
It's now 16 straight for Tennessee. They ran away with this one. Power lets it go.
Can't buy one tonight.
Not lately. Scoring drought has stretched beyond 5 minutes now. Rick Barnes will take a quick timeout.
Just a substitute.
Nice ovation from the folks that made the way from Rocky Top.
You know, all the schools have brought pretty good contingencies to follow their team. Baylor had a big crowd. St. John's has a big crowd. St. John's actually is going to play a couple more games before they go back.
Yeah, and they'll both be here on CBS Sports Network. Take on Georgia, who was in this 4-team field last year. Sunday across the way. Gainey, catch and shoot. Pops out. Offensive rebound. That's Boswell, the freshman from Charlotte.
Still hadn't missed a shot on the season. He's 2 for 2.
He has tied an NCAA record. Ames across the lane, feeding Robinson. Anthony Robinson, redshirt frosh from Peachtree City in Georgia.
Home with Jeff Shepard. Robinson's got a good-looking body on him out there, good size, good length. He's just going to have to kind of pick up the tempo as far as adjusting to the speed of the college game. A little bit quicker reactions, but that just comes with working hard in practice and getting in some game time like he is tonight. Because he's got the build and the size to play down the low post, college basketball.
Second generation ACC athlete. His dad played football at Georgia Tech.
And anytime you change levels from high school to college, college to pros, whatever, that's probably the biggest adjustment players have to make is the speed of the game. And you've got to get to the point where you're playing at that speed and then all of a sudden the game kind of slows down.
All right, so we got Tennessee and Baylor. Number 13, number 11 will square off for the Continental Tire Baha Mar Championship tomorrow night. What do you look forward to in that matchup?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the teams react as well. I mean, Tennessee obviously didn't exert as much energy, but because they play defense so the full shot clock and so hard, I mean, they'll be fatigued as well, but not after having played 2 overtimes. A game where Baylor probably felt like they maybe wouldn't admit it, but that first half they were terrible. But to their credit, they kept battling and made plays down the stretch, and that's what it's all about. And he made a good call during that game, the fact that it was similar to the last game that those 2 teams had played against. When Rick Pitino, I think, was at Louisville, he got behind big and made a run and ended up winning by 3.
Yeah, I don't think Rick Pitino wants to see Scott Drew in the Caribbean again. Did you see Chip Gaines was here tonight from Fixer Upper, that TV show that takes place in Waco?
Yeah, he's a big Baylor fan.
We ought to have a celebrity cam tomorrow night. Put Kyle Macy on there, Sam Hyman, Chip Gaines. The kind of how they do at NBA games, show you all the stars that are watching courtside.
Dane Bradshaw, former guard at Tennessee, doing some college basketball announcing now.
Robinson met at the rim by Kate Phillips. That 7'2" wingspan will put the finishing touch on a dominant victory. A dominant second half turned in by 11th ranked Tennessee. And the Volunteers are 5-0 as they take down Virginia 64-42 in Nassau tonight. They will meet the Baylor Bears in tomorrow night's championship. We had a ranked-on-ranked doozy earlier between St. John's and Baylor. We expect another one tomorrow night as 11 and 13 square off for the title here at the beautiful Baha Mar Resort. Fun night of hoops, long night of hoops. In this game, a little bit different than the first one we had, but
Yeah,
your
different.
takeaways as we reflect on the night that was.
Well, I'm looking at Virginia and I'm thinking, you know what? The good news is we get to play again tomorrow night. You can't let the fact that you didn't have your best game or play very well at all, to be honest, affect you again the next time out. You got to kind of forget about that, have that short-term memory, and don't worry about it. Learn from it, but get ready for the next game, because I can tell you, St. John's will be ready to play. They'll be disappointed they lost that game, and they're going to come out and try to get that bad taste out of their mouth to where they play better and come away with a victory.
Now, Rick Barnes capturing his 811th victory tonight. Sam Hyman standing by with another guy that notched a milestone.
That's right, Chaz. Before we get to that, what is the thing that impressed you the most about your team's performance today?
I mean, we're just a hard-nosed, tough team. We battled to the end and kept fighting to the end for all 40 minutes, so that's why I'm most proud of my team.
Chaz, you were cooking tonight, 18 points, and you eclipsed 1,000 for your career. What did you do so well?
My teammates all the credit. They were finding me and setting good hard screens for me and getting me open, so shout out to them.
How many points are you giving yourself for going down that water slide, though?
Oh, man, that's on you, man. You got my adrenaline rushing for tonight, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you for your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, Chris.
Well, Sam Hyman absolutely deserves credit for any big performance here in Nassau. Volunteers fans smiling ear to ear. Tennessee's 5-0. We'll be back after this.